Well, it's 1:00, 2 minutes, and I'm not going to delay this any further because we have so much to talk about. So welcome, everyone. I am absolutely delighted to see so many people in here and more people are connecting. So welcome. I hope that you have your cup of coffee to accompany this talk. So let me just make a very quick introduction before we dive into the topic. What you're witnessing today is one of our monthly coffee talks. This is an initiative sponsored by She Leads, and She Leads, for your information, is a community, and it's also a program, a development program for female managers. And if you're coming here and you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Alena Huberova, and I'm kind of a hybrid between a coach, mentor, guide for female managers, and I run the She Leads community and the She Leads program. If you want to know more about the program, please get in touch, because we have a new bunch of female managers joining now in April. Okay, so just drop me a message. So that's about this format. And we're going to have 60 minutes together to address one of the topics that we frequently get from women who are considering their career options. And the topic is, how do I go about my career development? Do I actually just let it flow and see what happens, or do I strategically plan it? So this, my dear ladies, is exactly what we are going to try to tackle during the 60 minutes that we have together. And for the discussion, I have chosen 3 pretty amazing guest speakers that you will absolutely love. And I will basically squeeze their brains on how they went about their own career development. Because let me tell you, ladies, they have, in their very early ages, achieved a tremendous career growth. So, ladies, Katerina, Mirja, Sarah, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for giving me the time to have this discussion. So I want everyone to welcome Mirja, who is I have notes ready, okay? So Mirja is the Executive VP for the travel-centric platform at Amadeus, and she is based in Madrid, Spain. So Mirja, welcome here.
Hey, good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. Then we've got Katerina Keretsman, who is the VP Business Development at Rossum, and Katerina is right now based in the Czech Republic in Prague. So Katerina, hello, welcome to you.
Hi, everyone.
And finally, we've got Sarah Alexandrova with us, who is the VP Global Financial Services at Serva Worldwide. So Sarah, to you.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. So thank you to our speakers. Thank you for everyone being here. Ladies who are watching with your coffees, I want to encourage an interaction in here, okay? We are not here to have a monologue. We're here to have a discussion. And so if you hear something, please react to it in the chat. If you have a question on any of our speakers, please put it in the chat. Once we finish the 60 minutes, we will actually have a few moments for live questions for those of you who actually want to or prefer to do it live. So we will make some space for that. And I think that's it. So let's dive into it. Yeah, you ready? Good. By the way, I only see, yes, I only see the faces of myself and of our guest speakers. If any of you ladies want to just switch on the camera and you have the opportunity to do that, please do it for us, because we love looking at people's faces rather than looking at our own faces, right? So let's start. So I'm going to start with Sarah. I actually have you here on my screen, and I want to start with looking a little bit at the very early stages of your career. You know, Sarah, if I asked you, like, right at the beginning of your career, that 20 years later you will actually be the VP of this global organization. You will be overseeing a huge organization with many employees. You know, what would you tell me? You know, would that sound to you as a surprise if I asked you these 20 years ago that you will become a VP? Or did you actually have that in your mind? Did you start to plan your career right at the beginning of your career journey?
Well, I don't know if I was plotting my career. I do have to say that I was an immigrant in the United States, so that is usually tough. And I had no work experience with Star when I started for my company, by the way, which I've been for 18 years now, quite unusual. So if you tell me I was going to be a VP, the answer is I wanted to be a CFO, and I still do. So maybe yes. Did I sit down and plot? No. But did I take every opportunity? Yes. Did I have to work harder than most people around me? Probably, yes. So for the people that know me for a while, they're not surprised where I'm sitting. I'm surprised it was faster. But yeah, that's pretty much it. No plotting, but a lot of hard work. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. I have no doubt about that. So that's interesting, Sarah. So you had that idea in your head very early in your career, right? Because not many of us actually have that. I certainly didn't have a vision of that I will be, you know, one day running this community and I will be working face to face with female managers who are actually managing huge amounts of people. I would never imagine that. So it's good to know that you had that thought right at the beginning. What about Katerina? Katerina, you today, I mean, when I was spying on your LinkedIn profile, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing, because you went pretty quickly from a sales account executive to head of business development to a VP role. So what was your start? Did you have a rough idea right at the beginning of your career that you wanted to go into senior management?
No, I didn't. I think it also would heavily depend, like, when would you ask me, right? If you would ask me when I was 18 years old, like, hey, is it possible that one day you will be VP of business development? Well, first of all, I wouldn't know what VP of business development is. And second of all, I would be like, yeah, sure, good for me. If you would ask me 5 years ago, I would probably say, like, nah, that's not really possible, because I would be like, really clearly seeing what would it take and what actually, like, should happen in order for, like, for me to get there. So I wouldn't really know, but I think similar to what Sarah was sharing before, I just really had that strong feeling that I want to be great at whatever I do since the beginning, like, of me growing up. And it's not really depending on the career or the role or something. It's really about desire to actually, like, master something to the best extent. And then career, I think, is like, is an outcome, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I understand. It's that desire to basically do a great job, and ideally to be in a job that actually fulfills you, right? So, and then the rest is just a natural outcome of that, right?
Yeah, I feel like if you follow your heart and if you really actually follow what you want, not what, like, your parents want, society wants, the expectations around, it's something that then, like, you find your ways as you go. It's all about the path that you walk, and then you actually uncover a lot of things. And then, like, if you're passionate about it, and if you're also vocal about it, that, like, I have desires, I have, like, thoughts and plans, then you will find a lot of people on the way that will also help you out. Because I think, like, at least in my case, it's impossible that, like, it's all done by myself. Like there was so many people around impacting and helping and teaching and guiding. So I think that that is an important factor also.
Right. Yes, I will ask you later on, Katarina, about what you did specifically. Right. And now I want to hear from Mirja. So again, looking back at the beginning of your career, did you have a rough idea of what you wanted, where you were heading, or you just started a job and that was it?
Yeah, probably equal than Sarah and Katarina. I didn't have a clear direction, or also if you would have told me I would be VP at this stage, I would have thought, not sure this is feasible, but it would definitely be my wish. Yes, so this was clear for me. My objective was probably clear, no, a wish where I would like to go. But then it was not clear how to get there for myself. And very much early in the career, probably all my steps were based on trying things out and determining, okay, this I don't like, this I also don't like. So for instance, very early in my career, I did a consulting job, and we did consulting for regions and cities about their tourism concept. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't really like that we were only part of the conceptual phase and not on the operational phase when you introduce this. So I figured out for myself, hey, so that's good, but actually I want to get closer to really the realization. Or another job, I was more in the airport and hotel operations, and I didn't really like to work night shifts or over the weekend. So I said, so that's also not for me. So I early in my career, I probably figured out more through what I don't like in a particular job to search for the next one in order to get step by step probably where I am today. So I would have thought, yes, that's where I want to go, but I had no clue how to get there. Then it was a lot of coincidence. And I would agree with Katarina. It's about searching what motivates you, but also what I enjoy, no? To work only in what I enjoy, where my passion is, and to search for that step by step. I think that was a bit my way.
That's actually a common approach, right? Many people tell me that they actually try different activities, different jobs, to feel where they see themselves, what kind of company culture they enjoy. Some people clearly love a corporate culture. Other people, they love a more dynamic startup environment, right? People are different. So it's good to kind of test, try, and feel. How do I feel in this environment? And I just want to ask you, Mirja, I will now jump into kind of the second round of our questions. So many people, when they start a new activity, when they start in a new job, they, how long did it take you, Mirja, to figure out whether you actually like the environment and the content of the job? Because at the beginning, everything is hard. We are learning, we are swimming in the pool. Half of the time, we don't know what we're doing. So sometimes people are a bit confused about, am I still at the learning stage? Or is this the stage that is clearly showing me that this is not for me? So how quickly did you realize whether the job is good for you or not? What time frame did you give yourself?
Yeah, I think this very much depends on your own character. So in my case, it probably takes 1.5 to up to 3 years, no? When I'm motivated in a job, and probably a year until I understand, okay, there's enough space for me to grow, there's enough space for me to make an impact. This is interesting enough for me. But I think it's also important that when you take a new job that you think about already, is there enough space for me? No, is there enough new things for me? So is there a good combination of bringing the expertise I bring from other jobs into this new job, but also enough area for me to develop my own skills, to learn a new area. And it very much depends on what step you are taking. No? It's a very similar job compared to you are going either into a new industry or you're taking the hierarchical step. So it depends very much on what is the change you are taking, which determines what is the time when you are learning. I think there's no secret. No, it depends on your character and what type of job change you are taking. And it might even take up to 5 years if it's a completely new step for you. Your career.
I totally agree. And I think that it also requires a good amount of self-awareness, right, ladies? I mean, would you agree with that? Because sometimes life is so busy that we don't even have the chance to reflect. What is it we want? What is it we like? And ask questions such as, hey, am I actually utilizing my talents in here? What are my talents? What are the strengths that I can lean into? So I think that in order to make these decisions, we also really need to ask ourselves these fundamental questions and know ourselves, know our ability, know our values even, right? Because then if we step into an environment which is clearly not in line with our values, sometimes we can make faster decisions, right? But self-awareness is so important. Sarah, you wanted to say something.
Yes, and I know this sounds really great, Elena, but when you're 24, when I started my career, I don't know about all of you, but I didn't know exactly who I was. And we go through these stages and we evolve. And in my case, as I said, I've always worked in one company, crazy me, right? So I didn't have that other opportunity. So I did different things, like I went back to school, I got degrees, you know, but we evolve. So our self and what we do at 24 is not going to be the same at 30. It's not going to be the same at 35. So I would like to say that now what you say makes complete sense. But if you have told this, and we have some young people too, younger, I can't believe I'm saying that, younger than me. Yes, please don't be worried if you truly don't know. I changed 4 majors at school until I figured this out. I didn't even know what relocation was. I prepared for my interview though, right? So maybe we don't know, but it's okay, because we will eventually learn. And sometimes you go in and you say, no way, this does not work for me. There are certain red lines. There are certain things and values you have that you cannot cross, and that's okay. And you move on. Maybe it takes you longer to figure out who you are.
Yeah, I totally agree. And on that point, you kind of touched on a point of boundaries. You know, sometimes you're right that when we're 20, we have no idea who we are, right? I certainly had no idea, but it's good to constantly reflect and to try to find a way to yourself and listen to yourself and see whether what you do, the people around you, are actually in line with how you feel good, right? So Sarah, since you, I don't know, Katarina, did you unmute yourself? No, okay. So Sarah, I wanted to continue there. So you said that you also tried different things. You actually changed your majors 4 times. So when it comes to your career, how specifically did you go about it? So you said at the beginning that, yes, you did have strong ambitions. You had no idea how to get there, but you knew that you wanted to pursue a career. So I want to know, at which stage did you start to kind of plan that career? Because you had a goal, and, did you start asking yourself, okay, so what can I do in order to get myself there? What would be the next step? Did you do that? And how did you do that?
Did I do that? So that's a little bit of a complicated answer, because I'm going with Katarina. Since young age, I've wanted to do the best I can, and that's what I teach my kids. Sometimes the best I can is number 1. I always joke, in the United States, everybody gets a participation trophy. I don't agree with that. You have to try to be the best you can. So I've had an opportunity to actually move within my company in different positions. I was joking when we were talking, but truly, I started with I wanted to be an IT programmer until I realized that's not for me. I was good at it, but it wasn't for me. And then I ended up in marketing, and then political science. That was awesome. And then I took one finance class and I loved it. And that's how I ended up with actually even a PhD in finance. And when I started my job at Serva, I wasn't even in finance, it was real estate. And I moved around and I grabbed every opportunity. I don't know if necessarily I've planned it. I think what it was is realizing what is your next step in your career that you wanted to do. I wanted to do this. And as you start liking it, then I said, I want to manage this amazing organization, and took every opportunity. There's questions in the chat about mentors, and I know you're going to talk a little bit about this. So I'm going to just say, my approach has been, I watch people. I see the things that they do well, and I see the things that maybe they don't look well. They don't do well. And I kind of take that and say, who am I as I was growing as a leader, and learn from that. Never had a mentor, but I've had people that were helping me with my career. And I took that and I learned from them. And that has always been my approach, is put a goal and just work towards it and listen to feedback. It is tough because most of us are type A people. So we want to be very good at what we do. But if we humble ourselves and we listen to feedback and you choose, not every feedback makes sense to you. Look at that feedback, decide what you want to change so you can get to the next goal. That's a very long-winded answer, but that was my approach.
Yes, I agree with you. Sarah, when you were talking about jumping at the different opportunities, explain that to me. Do you mean that people approached you and actually proposed these opportunities to you, or were you proactively looking at what is happening and then applying for these jobs?
Both. So sometimes is seeing an opportunity above and beyond your job description. The way I was able to move in different areas is by taking projects that are cross-functional, and then people get to know you. And there are moments, and in some jobs, that it wasn't what I expected. I worked in IT as a business analyst, and I thought that would be me making a difference. And I think Katerina and Mira, you're going to agree, we want to do something good. We want to be part of something big. And it's not always what you thought it is. So there are moments of demotivation, but you kind of have to take a deep breath and say, is that part of my learning? So I know how to get better. So it was sometimes offered to me, and sometimes I would see something and I want to volunteer. I want to be part of that, which meant working over hours, which is normal, unfortunately, in the United States. But that was me. Doesn't work for everybody. Don't recommend it for everybody. That was just my approach.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah, for sharing. Katerina, sorry, I kind of cut you there. So what was your approach? Again, we're talking about being strategic or letting things flow. What was your approach? And when did you take that decision to proactively work on your career?
I took a decision to work proactively on myself since the very beginning, and I think that was the most important decision. And that was just the moment when I know that, okay, I want more, right? And just being open to listen to yourself. Like, am I at this stage where I'm getting bored and I want something additional, right? As Sarah was just explaining, like, do I actually want to, with all the extra work and everything, I imagine that extra degree didn't come at very easy extent as well. Like, that was very, very challenging to do. To me personally, it was, so I studied law. I worked since I was like 19 already in the area. I was helping a lawyer, and then I realized that it might get very quickly boring, so I wanted to try something different. Then I understood there are sales, right, which are really similar from the communication standpoint. In my head, like, you always just have to go and convince somebody and know how to talk to them and know how to explain what you actually mean. So I found that passion in sales. And my first experience, to be very honest, was very connected to the first topic that you were discussing, like, right at the beginning, when I don't know what I don't know, how do I choose if it's the right fit or not? My personal experience, the only thing I knew was myself. So I was pushing way too hard and trying way too hard, being great at something that I didn't like. Not from the position perspective, but more from the environment perspective, that was harmful, like, right? And then I learned that it's important to know when to drop things off, actually, when to say, like, you know what, is enough. I'm just not going to waste my time on it anymore. Let's move on. I didn't learn it easy way. I learned it the hard way, but that was like, the really beginning of my career. Because then when I moved to the different positions, etc., when it feels comfortable, when you feel at your spot, like, you just feel it with your fifth sense. And then I was working as an individual contributor, and just like, because I felt that, like, okay, I can do it. I was doing it well, like for a few quarters, I started to help the others. And then it was more a curiosity. Would I actually be good at helping the others? And that was the moment, like, how I actually started to work with the team, right? And then again, like, I had a great people that helped me to spot it, helped me to test it, develop it, etc. So I was always following from the curiosity perspective, rather from the perspective like, oh, I feel like, you know what, I actually went there, had a few great quarters, let me right now go and ask for a raise or for a change. Like, not exactly like, my style. I'm just like always trying to think about things from the perspective, do I like it? Do I want more? And how much time does it cost me? Because one thing that I really do not like when things are getting really slow. I know that in my way, like, in my personality, I do require crazy speed. I do like working 10, 11 hours, but it's because it's my decision. It's not because my boss told me so, or because, like, company told me so or something. So I'm looking for an environment when I know that investment from the knowledge perspective will actually pay back effectively. And then I'm sure, especially right now in the market, if you have a knowledge that the others won't, you don't have to actually bother about your career. Your career will kind of take care of yourself if you're truly great at what you do. So that was like, something that I get to, but big learning for me was exactly at the beginning, actually knowing how to say no to things that I don't feel great about, because there's like, as was mentioned before, like A players' personalities. You actually want just to push it. You have to push it till the end. You have to do 150%. But what if you're doing it in the wrong direction? Sometimes you just need to stop and say, like, you know what, you do it yourself, and I'm going to find something different, even if it's not, like, not something very natural for me. So I'm just like trying to stay right now very mindful, knowing, like, am I spending my efforts in the direction where it actually makes me happy and bring me the results that I want.
I see. Okay. And nowadays you have that ability to spot that, right?
I think like we all learn, mainly we learn a bit more about ourselves every day as we go. And I think that is the most important learning, when you know how to listen to yourself, and you actually then, like, as was really like, I totally agree with the point, like listening to the others. Feedback is just so important. Self-reflection is so important. Am I the same as I was really at the beginning of my career? Absolutely not. From a lot of different angles, like, you shape people that are around you, and people around you are shaping you as well. So I think just being really open to the fact that you don't have to follow the same path as maybe somebody else follow and you envision, and like your path can be changing on a, like, like weekly basis. And let's also be honest, we live right now in an environment and society when things are changing so quickly that it's really hard to follow the speed, right? And it's so much about the flexibility of us being actually aligned with those changes. So I think like right now I'm just really open to the knowledge that I might not know the best answers yet. I'm just not frustrated with that. They will come when the time is right. And I'm just trying to keep my eyes open and really, like, be aligned with myself. What do I want?
Mm-hmm. And Katerina, when you start a new challenge, do you give yourself a specific time to kind of find out, to learn, and to see whether you actually like it? Do you follow, like, I will give myself 2 years, I will give it my best, and then let's see? Or you don't?
No, honestly, I don't. I think like I'm trying to give my best, like to the full extent as much as I can. And then, like, if it's not right, there are some situations that I imagine, like, you can spot it in a week time. If you, for example, like, for me, it's super important which people I'm working with, right? So I think if I'm working with the wrong bunch of people, it's something that you can spot, like, you don't need like years for that. But then there might be, for example, I don't know, the product that you sell for or the industry or something, like, a bit more global, that it takes you time to analyze it. So I would rather say, like, that it's more of a following your own gut feeling to an extent, and just being, being open to the idea that, like, you think that you're picking something best, but you just need to know right from the start of any career change or any like, new job or anything, that you know very small amount of the reality. As great questions you asked before about the company, about the conditions and everything, as many people you spoke to, as many things you thought about as well, like, you were choosing the career before, you still know, like, a degree, the high level inside will come, like, much later. So going with an idea that, yes, I think I did my homework well, but it does not mean that there is going to be success for 100%. I think if you have that, like, mindset, it's much easier to just, then openly accept if this is not the fit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thank. Oh, sorry, I'm muting myself. Mirja, would you like to add to what the ladies have said when you think about what steps you have taken and the decision criteria that you used in order to make these steps? Would you like to share something with us about that?
Yes, I think there were a number of interesting things both mentioned by Katharina and by Sarah, and I wanted to come back to one point very much in the beginning of the reflection, that you need to reflect a little bit, where do you want to go? And there was a question, is it early in the career or later? Probably we are getting more at ease to reflect about ourselves, but probably in growing of your career, you also reflect about others. You get a better understanding where you fit, where others fit, how can you orchestrate as well, how to fit a team together. But I think it starts very early, and I would encourage everybody to reflect very early in your career already. Where do you want to go? What are the right next steps? Most probably afterwards, after some years, okay, this was not the right step. But it's important that you, at least at that point in time, you determine what is your right next step. And I took the decision for myself very early in the beginning, not to go somewhere, but at least to be in control of my own career. I very early took the decision, I'm not going to wait until somebody proposes an opportunity to me. I'm going to look for it. Because if not, I'm very much like Katharina, I get bored, I need pace, and I want the challenge, and I need to ask for it, because many times this is not clear to everybody around you, to your boss or to colleagues, so you need to say it. So I took this decision for myself, not to be open and say, I want to work in a bigger project, I want to take more responsibility, and this was my guiding principle. Then I think Sarah mentioned at some stage something about the red line, which I also see for my career. At least in each of the steps I have taken, I try to reflect, okay, is this logically linked to what I have done before, and logically linked somewhere to a longer term goal I'm after, so that when I'm in an interview, I can explain why I have done these sometimes very different jobs. Why did I move from one industry or from one company to another? And there were always logical steps. I needed to have this clear for myself. And then it got also logical to search for new motivations and help me to evolve as well my skill set. And I think coming back to your question on how long do we give ourselves to learn? Again, it depends on what change you are doing, but in each change I'm doing, I'm trying to educate myself in the new field I'm working. I'm reading a lot. Articles, but as well books. There are tons of books who are helping you to get an expert literally in any area. If you are interested in sales, and you find tons of recommendations how to improve sales techniques, to understand personas you are working with. Or if you are interested in technology and how development cycles are working and what is changing. So there are so many books. So I would always recommend, and at least this is what I have done as well, to educate myself through literature, through reading what is happening there, and stay on top of things, because this helps you as well to identify where are next opportunities. Where is your complementary skill which will help the next project, and then you can position yourself. So these were some of the ideas I took into account in my career.
Wonderful. I will actually cut you on that. I will ask you some questions that I have in my mind, but I also want to make sure that we are seeing what is in the chat. Anna is asking to all of you guys, Any one of you have had a moment where you felt totally stuck, demotivated in a particular role? She's asking, what was the main reason and how did you overcome it? Anyone wants to comment on that?
Yes, yeah, I had many of those. And usually the reason is that you don't have space anymore to grow. This is my experience. You don't have space to learn anymore. You don't have space to influence. And then you get frustrated. No? But I think that's a great momentum to reflect again, no? To think, hey, why am I now frustrated? And what should I do in order to change that? No? I think one important reflection for myself is only I can take the actions. No? It's not my boss, it's not anybody around me, it's me. I can take the action. And sometimes when you get frustrated and you see, hey, now I have to do something, this starts getting you in motion, no? And to think again. So
you know what, I totally love what you're saying, Mirja, because so many of us, when we get frustrated, when we get demotivated, we start pointing the fingers. Oh, my boss, my colleagues, and this is happening to me. But hey, ladies, all of us, let's turn the direction of the finger and remember what Mirja said, you know, let's start with questioning ourselves. What makes me feel frustrated? Is there anything I could do in order to change that? Or even a nice question, is there anything I am doing to contribute to that situation, to contribute to that frustration? So thank you, Mirja, for that reminder. Sarah.
Yes, I also, wanted to say hi, Anna, by the way. I wanted to say too is, as we grow in our careers, maybe we become less patient in this area too. Maybe we're willing to accept a little bit more demotivation at the beginning because you're growing your career. So I'm going all with the reflection part. And the other thing too for me is not only stepping back and seeing, yes, what am I doing and what can I change? Because we can influence people to an extent, and the higher you get, the easier it is to influence. So it depends on your position, right? But you can influence in any position and see, what is my ultimate goal? Am I willing to maybe change? Katerina, for example, maybe saying, no, you know what, I'm done. That's not good for me. Or I can say, I'm okay because I have a bigger goal, and find that internal motivation for all of us. Because as parents, as women, as managers, as career people, all of us, we get demotivated. But somehow there's this inner strength in all of us that sometimes we don't even know. And we don't even know to find out and say, you know what, I am doing this because I want to accomplish this and nobody's going to stop me. So that's sometimes my way of getting unfortunate situations where it's culture related, or the people that maybe you don't like working, but you have no choice. It's, you know what, that little stubbornness of the A personality. I have my goal. I know what I'm worth. I know my strength. And you know what? I'm doing the right thing. As long as you feel you're doing the right thing, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing it for the bigger good of my team. Then it's okay. That is how it's a little pep speech. Doesn't always work, but it does work most of the time.
Yeah, but I think that is so true. We need to be prepared that we're not going to like everything that is happening in the workplace, that we will work with difficult customers, or we will have difficult people in our teams. That's part of the job. You either cope with it or you change jobs, right? Because this is an inherent part of the senior manager job, right? So yeah, good reminder, Sarah. Katarina.
I think that there are actually 2 points to that. One of it, like, I just really love reading about motivation and working with motivation. I think it's just so important when you work with people. External factors of motivation are important, but nothing is as important as an internal motivation. Your managers, your work, everything, they can do whatever they want, but if you decided to do something or decided not to do something, it's actually, like, in majority of the cases, this is like, the 70% of decision is really on you. And the second point that, like, I'm really reflecting on recently, a lot of things are happening to us because we are welcoming that to our life, or we actually need it, or we are looking for it, right? Maybe somehow subconsciously. So very often I think also that the motivation or anything, maybe this is just a sign to ourselves to reflect, you know, and just like, you know, sometimes it's a wake up call, and it's not necessary will be triggered, like, you know, that yes, somebody just like, you know, wants to do something not good to you or not to think about it or so, but it's rather you yourself in a different way remind, hey, is everything correct? Is everything actually aligned with what I was planning originally? And so I think like there's actually, I always find it a good, you know, like a reality check moment when I'm actually like, you know, hey, is it like really dramatic as I think about it? Or is it like, you know, just me trying to, you know, to be somehow like nice to myself and pat myself on the shoulder and say that I'm doing a difficult thing, you know, and I have just to be strong and go through that. And it just always helped me to, or find that motivation again and understand like, no, I know why I'm doing it. I know this is my decision actually to do that, or understand that like, maybe this is exactly not an environment aligned with what I'm looking for right now. And it's also fine because then you know that you need to start working on changing something. And changing, I'm not saying about the drastic, like going quit tomorrow, but maybe like, you know, how can you actually address it? Because I think the worst thing we can actually do to ourselves is be victims of the situations. You know, like you don't feel motivated, super bad. Somebody will care about it more than you. No, you will be the one caring about it the most. So like you just need to think like, okay, this is the situation and this is my plan how I can solve it. And the ways to solve it can be very difficult, like, right? Can be very different. Sometimes they're going to be smaller steps, support of the others, reflections, etc. Sometimes they might be a bit more drastic, but it heavily depends on the situation.
And then I want to say something. Katerina reminded me. I learned this through one of my best professor, who actually an amazing guy. This is what he said. People complaining. You know what he said? I will give you a quarter to go call your mom because she's the only one who cares. I don't care. He used a little bit of a profanity. Cannot say that. And he was wow. What do you mean you don't care? Katerina's right. Nobody cares. Only you do. Now, good managers will. Don't get me wrong, but overall, only you.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with you, ladies. And since many of you have mentioned this reflection, you know, when I feel demotivated, okay, what can I do about that? I just want to ask all of you, do you make it part of like a internal process? You know, some people, for instance, they do weekly reflections. Hey, what has gone well in this week? How do I feel about this? Or what has gone bad? How can I improve? Do you actually make this as a regular habit, the reflection about what is going on with you and being in that environment? Or do you just take it as it comes? When you have this uncomfortable feeling, oh, something is going on, I need to think about it, think about my next actions. So anyone has got any specific strategy?
I don't know about you, but I'm a busy person. This is just me. No, we run. Sometimes we don't realize the amazing things we do personally and professionally. A serious, you know, do I reflect? I wish I can. I've always thought about it. Katerina, I love what you're saying, Miri, about the reading. And I'm like, I want to read, but I have a 5-year-old and I have a job and I have a husband. And, you know, I wish, as I was growing up in my career, that I reflected more. We've all sacrificed. And sometimes the decisions I've made, I'm not very proud of to be where I'm at. So I get it as it goes. Something's not right, or I had a bad meeting, or I'm seeing that the behavior of either a team member or my family is changing, or I feel this wave. I don't know if you've ever felt it. Then I know it's time to just step back and find a way. So I wish I can write down. I even bought a journal to reflect. It was a present for Christmas. It's still sitting on my desk at home. Do not tell this to my husband, my daughter. They were so proud. But just don't be worried if you don't have a strategy. I don't know. Mary, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I don't have a fixed structure or where I say every evening I reflect, but it comes naturally to my mind, probably under the shower or when I prepare the dinner or something, I reflect, hey, this was good. This was actually not so good. Hey, why did he say this? Why did I not answer that? So yes, there is a constant reflection ongoing. And did I misunderstand something? Did we not capture this trend correctly? Should we adjust our project a little bit here or there? I think it's a constant thing which happens and which probably starts a little bit later in your career, no? When you take responsibility, not only for your own career, but for the career of others or for a project, for the business itself, then probably it's just part of your day, no? And it's true, it's not easy because we are all extremely busy, no? I also don't find so much time on reading the whole book, but there's a great app which is called Blinkist, I think. In 10 minutes you get a book summary. It's not the same, but okay, it serves for some purpose, so it's good. But I also believe you need to find the time to reflect, no? So for instance, if you are demotivated, you are frustrated, probably take a little bit of a vacation. Just get disconnected, do something different, because this will give you again another perspective. And I had to learn this. The pandemic probably taught me a lot of things as well. So you have to step back, you have to slow down, and you have to start taking as well your own time. So I would very much recommend that this becomes not as a structure every evening, but that you find spaces in your agenda where you get again the time to reflect for yourself. So yeah. I think it's helpful.
This is absolutely, this is so important. In February, we had a coffee talk on burnout. And one of the prime reasons for why people get to burnout, and this happens a lot to our personality A people, that we don't find the time to reflect. And we are so busy that we do not listen to the tiny little inner being that is calling out, that is voicing out something, but we don't have the time to hear it. And we are so busy and our minds are so busy that the voice does not get heard at all. So absolutely, reflection, whether it is more structured or not, it doesn't really matter as long as it happens sometime. Yeah, right. Oh my goodness, ladies, I would be listening to you forever. And now I'm realizing that we have 10 minutes and then we will still be able to answer some questions live, but so now I need to prioritize the questions, and we also have some questions from the audience. And there is actually one that is a nice transition to the final part of our talk. And that is, if you were to start all over again, what would you do differently? Isn't that a brilliant question? I had something similar on my list, but this is much better. So who wants to start first? If you were to do things differently, I mean, if you were to start all over again. Sarah.
This is a tough one, and I may be able to address Constance's question from my part. I've made sacrifices I'm not very proud of. I worked way too many hours, and I was a stepmom of 3 boys. And I thought that I can do it all 3. I can go get a PhD, build a career, and be a mom and a wife. Bad idea. We can't do that. So if I have to go back and do it again, I've missed birthdays of my stepkids. I didn't spend enough time with my husband. And as Miria said, what I learned through COVID, at the end of the day, the people that are around you, the people that you're going to remember in the 30 seconds that they say you have, it's not going to be the work and all the accolades you've received as your family. So if I change something is, I wish the smarter 26-year-old has said that there are more important things than your career. I did not do that. But I had an amazing husband and kids, and they forgave me for it. But if you have a chance, think about the sacrifice and is it worth it? Maybe with different lenses. That is the only thing I would say.
Sarah, thank you. I find this all the time. And I have actually had a major midlife crisis, yeah, because I also didn't prioritize correctly. So I'm so glad that you're reminding us all, you know, being a senior manager is definitely not for everyone. And
No.
also, you know, whatever choice we make, we always have to pay a price.
There's a price.
There is a price.
There's a price.
Am I willing right now at this stage of my life to pay the price? This is so important. Thank you, Sarah.
And it's never too late to start again. There's a question. It's never too late to change how you react. We evolve, we learn. Katerina said that, Mira said that, we all learn. And sometimes that next promotion, maybe that's not worth it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I would love to reinforce the fact that for that, it's so important to be continuously working on our self-awareness. Who am I? What do I want? What are my values? What kind of life do I want to live? Is this for me? And this is part of this reflection that we should all do, right? So many people don't do it. And honestly, I count myself in that in my early years. I had no idea who I wanted. And that's why I got myself into deep crap. Sorry about my wording. Anyway, so thank you, Sarah. Katarina, if you were to start all over again, what would you do?
Honestly, I wouldn't do anything differently. I wouldn't know. I just have this thing that we are all the outcome of all the situations and people that we met, for better or worse. And I'm just really grateful. That's not being said that I did everything perfectly, 100% no. Like I did tons of mistakes, tons of the things that like, you know, could have been done better, maybe spend a different way of time in a different way. But I think it's more a question like knowing what I learned from the past, how am I going to use that to do things differently in the future? That's just so like, you know, to me more important. I cannot really change what happened. And if I can, like, you know, my advice to have it in the way that it will be used for people that like, you know, are at the beginning of their path, it's their path. They will have their mistakes, doesn't matter what I say. I think like a lot of great already suggestions and ideas were shared today that you need to be in contact with yourself. I just like one of the, you know, like meaningful things that I really took from the beginning of my career. I was super lucky. Right at the beginning when I started to manage people, transitioning from individual contributor to manager's role is hard. And I think like, you know, everyone could confirm that. The moment when everyone is your friend, you're going out together, and then like, you know, tomorrow you're their boss. Fantastic, right? Like you're already like, you know, not really doing things in the same way, like you're, you know, already like, you know, not part of all of the conversations, etc. And plus like you're trying to behave like, you know, in the way that you think the smartest, but it's hard to like, you know, to know it right from the start. So I was super lucky because I had a training managers right at the beginning of my actually move to the role. And one thing that I found extremely useful there is a part about individualization. It's about understanding that every single person is different and you need to approach every single person differently. And that just really like, it was already happening very quickly in my career, but I think if that thing could come earlier, that would just like, you know, be tremendous, because finding the approach and understanding motivation in every single like, you know, human helps you to help them to develop and get to their like, you know, maximum extent. And that also like, you know, just connecting a bit to the reflection point. Reflection is super important. To me, one thing and one step that I see prior to reflection is actually active listening. Very many people think that it's a part of like, you know, sales approaches, etc. But it's like, I think should be life approach to everyone. It's like when we're especially rushing and we're like, you know, running for something, whatever situation is, whatever, like it doesn't have to be like a managerial role, whatever role we do, like even if we're just like being a daughter, a wife, and a mom, just being aware of what do people actually want to say, what do people actually want to transmit through their communication to you, understand what is their personality and how can you put it in the frame, like, you know, how can I actually help the best, or how shall I react on that? I think all of those pieces together, if I just had maybe that learning and that knowledge a bit earlier, would be great. But moving forward, this is exactly the part that I'm always trying to apply going in the future. I think to me that will like, you know, the key lesson so far.
Interesting. I will need to listen to this talk again because there is so much wisdom in here. Thank you for sharing. Miria, that same question applies to you?
Yes, I'm probably a little bit like Katarina. I don't know if I would do so many things different or there's a key item I could recommend. I believe each of us, we have our own journey, and we need to find our own journey and our own learnings in each step we are taking. And I'm thinking, if I say this, then the reflection didn't work very well, because apparently I didn't find out what went wrong. But I consider each of the learnings, probably they were part of a certain phase, and they are all good if just you can take the learning and you can improve from that. I think if one thing I would have liked to know earlier, probably in my career, is be patient. Don't be overstressed, that your career needs to happen, and at 25 I already need to be a VP. No, you have time. Actually, the professional career is pretty long. So we all have a lot of time to learn, to change, to grow in our responsibilities. And probably I was a little bit impatient when I was young. And this is not good because you get anxious and you sometimes don't like anymore what you are doing. So this would probably be my main reflection for myself if I could do it again. And then there was a very good, I actually got probably 2 good advices. Professional advisors I could think of from mentors. And yes, I have worked both with mentors and with coaches. So coaches a little bit more official, but mentors, I think you can find them very close to you, and you just need to seek feedback, and then you get a lot of feedback and support. So I would also recommend everybody for seeking those mentors. And one pretty early in my career said, Mia, laugh more, smile more, have more fun. Don't take it so serious, which for a German is not so easy. So I had a tough time to adapt. But I think it's a good recommendation, and it really helped me, and I pay a lot of attention to that, to enjoy and smile and make clear, yeah, I like actually what I'm doing, and I appreciate what I'm doing. And then the other one, which came a little bit later, is predict the outcome of certain decisions, because you might be proposing certain alternatives, and sometimes the decision of your bosses is probably not the alternative you proposed. It could be another one, but you already need to predict what could be the outcome of this. And sometimes I came unprepared for that in my career. And I think that's also a good reflection, to just predict certain scenarios, which can help you to be more powerful in executing afterwards those decisions.
Yes. I take both things, this smile more. Oh my God. I have been taking myself so seriously, and suddenly life turns into this serious, tense, dense thing, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. We can still have a pretty demanding job, but if we take things easy, have patience, smile, laugh at ourselves, it's so much more survivable, right? Not survivable, enjoyable. So thank you, Miria. Goodness, it's 2 o'clock. And so I would love to just go through one by one. If you were to give one advice to our audience, something that you really think could help them on their career journey, what would that be? Would you share it with us? Who wants to start?
I'll start, but I'll do 3, but I'll be very fast.
Good.
Okay. So as women, we have to walk a very fine line between what society expects, the aggressiveness, whatever that is. But here's the one advice. Do not be afraid to take charge. Society, non-society, you do have to take charge. You know your culture, you know who you are. You know who you are. Miria said this with advice. I had a gentleman who, as part of my yearly review, said, my God, Sarah, your passion overwhelms people. And I had a new manager. He said, guess what? I hired you because of your passion. So you have to choose the advice that you receive and who you are and who you want to be. And last, grab any opportunity, take that chair and put it at that table. Any opportunity you can see. Sometimes it may stretch your goals, but if you feel you can bring value, grab the chair and sit at the table. That's I can give any advice.
Thank you. Yes. Let's tattoo it on our head. Grab a chair and sit at that table. Yes, ladies, are you listening? I'm making notes. Thank you, Sarah. Katerina?
I think I also can just share 3 points, but try to be brief about it. First one, I would really suggest people to invest time in the learning and follow their passion much more than anything. I think like if that's what you follow, you will really find a way, and that would really matters and makes a difference at the end of the day. Second one is really listen to yourself and know what you truly enjoy, because it's not so easy to actually know what you like. Sometimes you do what you're asked to do or what you have to do, but knowing actually like, okay, what is the thing that I like, it's not so easy thing to find. So spending more time reflecting on it is really worth it. And then the last one that I learned, I think like, on a go, it was not like something that was really obvious to me. Maybe it's somehow cultural as well, I don't know. But we expect that somebody will come and invite us or think about us or actually come and ask like, hey, so what do you think you should do next? Nobody comes and nobody asks, or like, asks just as a formality, or ask like, not really putting a lot of thought. So, and it's okay, it's really fine. Don't get offended about that. It's more about like, speak up about what you want. Be vocal about it, right? But we be vocal not in the say like, I'm demanding, okay, like tomorrow I'm supposed to move there and do this, but rather like share your ideas, explain like, why do you want it? How are you working to gain that knowledge, to gain like, the responsibilities or so, and be ready to take the responsibilities first before you take any titles as well. I think it's really crucial. But if you're vocal about it, many more people will actually be willing to help, because surprise, surprise, but people love to help at the end of the day, and I think it's just something that can help a lot of, especially women, I think, in their career development, not being shy and just like, explaining to the others what your passion is. And if you're passionate about your passion, like, people will be passionate about it as well.
Love it, Katerina, love it. This is so important, and I see it all the time. Sometimes, or very often, we expect the people to be mind readers. They are not. And so whatever is hidden within you, your desires, your passions, your ambitions, voice them out. People will be willing to hear about that and help you. Thank you, Katerina. What I'm going to do actually, ladies, I will put, all this wisdom in bullet points and I will share it with everyone. This is amazing. Mirja.
So not much new, no, but I would also say, don't be shy and ask for what you want, but be patient and wait for the right opportunity to come. If you are looking for this opportunity, I'm pretty sure it will come, but be patient and don't try to be liked by everybody. That's not going to happen either.
Mirja, thank you. That was also a major lesson for myself, because as a hopefully cured people pleaser, that was almost my ambition in life. I needed to be liked. Oh my God. And I committed so many terrible things as a result of that. So thank you, Mirja, for that reminder. I actually feel that the higher we climb the career ladder, the more visibility we get, the more lovers and haters we have, right? And that's okay. That's okay. Let's get used to the fact that not everyone will like us, and that's fine. Sarah, you wanted to say something?
That's exactly what I was going to say. As you grow in, have the courage to take risks. It doesn't matter anymore if you like me or if you don't like me. If you do the right thing the right way and you have empathy and you're respectful, not all decisions will be liked, and that's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah. Wow, ladies, it's 14:06. So we're going to bring this to closure, and I would love to ask, I mean, if Katerina, Mirja, Sarah, do you still have like 5 minutes to hang around in here? Because I wanted to ask if anyone wants to ask their question live, because now would be the time. If you do, you can either directly unmute yourself or indicate with your hand. Yeah, just put up your hand. I will see it. I'm looking. And okay, in the meantime, I'm going to read the questions from the chat. There was, yes.
I think Monica has a question. Elena, I don't know if you saw that. It's kind of hard when you give up.
Monica, go for it.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for speaking today. It's a really impressive panel. I really taken a lot from listening to you amazing women. I wanted to ask, I'm always on the lookout to further develop myself, but it's quite hard to do because I'm always in my bubble, doing my same routine day in, day out. And I want to expand my mind. I want to like be able to add value into meetings and contribute towards the work that we're doing, maybe looking at the bigger picture instead of my day-to-day little bubble in my head. I'm going to embark on a board seat member in another organization just to give me that outside bubble thinking and a wider overview into projects from the outside. What kind of advice can you give me in order to continue developing my mind and myself outside of my existing bubble?
Thank you, Monica. Anyone wants to directly respond to Monica? Katarina.
I had once an advice that was really, really useful from a friend who explained me that sometimes it doesn't matter how great your self-reflection is, you cannot find answers unless you hear it from somebody else. You need you have a, how it's called, sounding bar or something right? You actually need to have a chance to discuss with somebody what you actually think and have a chance to reflect on it with the other person. And therefore, as Mirja was saying, I personally find mentor extremely helpful and extremely useful, because at the end of the day, if mentor is great, he or she will not tell you a lot of new things, but he or she will help you to get to your answers much faster. And exactly to me personally, my mentor comes from extremely different environment, from extremely different, geographically, experience-wise, everything, but just having a chance to be very open in conversations with somebody who can lead you in the direction in your own way. I honestly find it life-changing, specifically from the speed perspective, because as already mentioned, I love the speed. So if I can get my answers somehow faster, I'm very happy with that.
Thank you, Katarina. Mirja?
I would always, I think if you want to get other perspectives and you want to learn other areas, I think first you need to determine which area. Where do you want to bring expertise? Is there a particular field where you would like to bring an external view to your company? And then once you have this determined, look into what events are out there, what networks are out there. LinkedIn is a fantastic tool where you can connect to so many different networks to get insights, read reports. But I think it's important that you determine, okay, in which field, because there's so much out there in the world, but you need to determine what does interest you and where do you feel you should evolve in order to bring this additional view to your company. And then there's a wealth and many channels and opportunities, I think, where you can ramp up your knowledge and expertise.
Thank you, Mirja. Sarah, do you want to add anything?
No, I think the ladies did a wonderful job, and I know there are a few, maybe you have one more question you can fit in. So,
fabulous. So yes, if someone wants to again ask live, is the last question that we're going to be answering. Raise your hand, or I will read the question from the chat. So I'm checking. I don't see any raised hands. So I'm gonna, one last chance. No, okay. So there is one question in here that we didn't answer to all the speakers. So whoever wants to answer, you can unmute yourself. Did you face a situation in which you felt you needed to choose between your family and personal life and your career opportunity? How did you manage it?
I think I answered that not so well. So maybe Mirja and Katarina can do that. But there are many times that you have to choose that. You not always can have it both, I think. But if Mirja or Katarina wants to share more.
Yes, I have taken a conscious decision in favor of my professional career and against family at some stage. I cannot tell you yet if this was the right decision or not. I think this will come at the end, probably, of my life. Right now it works. Right now I'm happy, but I took a conscious decision indeed. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Katarina?
I think for me, opposite to Miria, I just know that whenever the situation will be, I know that I just have an agreement with my husband that family is the most important, and that's the way how I'm going to make the decision, right? And I think like not having to choose is great. That's like, you know, the environment I'm at right now, but also just like knowing in case what will be the choice, like, you know, I think I will not have to contradict with myself. That is good to know ahead. But I also think that it's just personally to me, is just incredibly helpful to have a partner that is extremely supportive and that you're very clearly like defining plans with together. You cannot at some point, I think, like take care of your career without actually like, you know, having an agreement with your family if that's important for you, what and how you actually want to take and like, you know, to take it move it forward. Because I can tell you 100% I would never be close to doing what I'm doing right now if I wouldn't have his support. Just because like, you know, I think that at some point you do make a decision like what is your priority, and then that priority helps you to decide as well. So I think like just sometimes avoiding the drastic needs of change when you have to choose one or another, which I think is extremely hard decision, might be somehow avoided by just trying to have those two aligned as much as it's possible, even though it's extremely difficult, like, you know, I think for every single one of us.
Thank you, Katarina. That's a good reflection for all of us to make. And Sarah, you wanted to add?
I can full-heartedly agree with Katerina. I understand, although Mira's decision, I made that decision early on and I changed my mind, right or wrong. So I had a daughter at the age of 40, not very easy. But my husband, an amazing man he is, he followed me all the way to Prague. And whether it's a husband or a partner or your family or you don't have anybody, surround yourself with people and friends that you can trust. And they actually, they're there to support you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a partner. It doesn't have to be, it could be your mom and dad, for God's sake. They forgive everything, right? So I think that's important. You cannot do this without a support group of some fashion. Choose your friends wisely. At least I've always done that. Because you need it. You need it, at least.
Thank you. That is so important. Sometimes we put all our focus and energy into the professional environment, and we actually forget to build the other aspects of our life and to care for our friends and families and to nourish these relationships. Yet it is these relationships that will keep us going and that will be there when we are low or when something happens, right? So good reminder. Ladies, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I will actually write the summary of this and I will publish it out there as a wisdom shared by all of you. Thank you so much. This has been so helpful, so inspiring. I also thank everyone who had a coffee with us and who posted questions and comments. Thank you so much. We will have another coffee talk in a month's time. So I will let you know, stay tuned. And if you're looking for guidance on your professional career development, personal development, and you want to find out what the She Leads community and the program is all about, please contact me because we have another bunch of ladies starting. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. Be well.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.